The last Game Crazy is alive and selling games in Salem, Oregon. But this isn't just any retro game store. It's a time capsule with a surprisingly complex history. Buckle up. This is one crazy story.
8-bit joystick.
Remember the days of hitting up GameStop and Blockbuster? Personally, I was more of a Game Crazy and Hollywood Video man myself. At Hollywood Video, they usually had a Game Crazy store next to it or actually in the video store, and you could both buy games and rent movies. They offered a way better experience than Blockbuster or GameStop. I'm crazy about retro video games, so of course I loved Game Crazy. Now, GameStop is still sort of around as a Funko Pop retailer, and there's still just one Blockbuster Video left in Bend, Oregon, but what you probably didn't know is that the last Game Crazy is still buying and selling games in Salem, Oregon. Things just got crazy. Game Crazy. The story dates back to July 1995. Game Trader opened in Cedar Hills Crossing Mall in Beaverton, Oregon, and was founded by Bruce E. Wattles. Soon thereafter, he rebranded it Game Crazy. Their logo was classic 90s, yellow with red stripes, tilted letters, and a graphic of a kid with awesomely spiky hair. Fast forward to now, and there's an awesome store called Retro Game Trader in Beaverton, about a mile away from Cedar Hills Crossing Mall. I called them and confirmed that they had no connection with the old Game Trader of Beaverton. Two stores with almost the same name selling retro games, just minutes and 25 years apart. What are the odds? 100% apparently. Bruce Wattles also signed franchise deals, and a Game Crazy store opened up in Janston Beach Center Mall on Hayden Island between Portland and Vancouver, Washington, and then two stores down in Salem, Oregon, one on Lancaster Drive near Willamette Town Center and one on Commercial Street in South Salem. Now, over in Portland, Mark Wattles founded a video rental store called Home Theater Video in 1985 before calling it Hollywood Video. Now, these Game Crazy stores were separated in branding and were under a different licensing agreement than the later black and green Game Crazy stores run by Hollywood Video, but more on them later. In fact, Hollywood Video would not get to open a Game Crazy in Salem, Oregon because of this previously existing legal agreement. Sadly, Bruce Wattles passed away in 2022 at the age of 85. He was a programmer in the 1960s before going into software sales and then finally opening Game Crazy. He was a good guy from Westland, Oregon, and may his memory be forever for a blessing. Down on Commercial Drive in South Salem, Oregon, you will find the very last Game Crazy in the entire world. Now, you will notice that it's not a black and green Hollywood Video Game Crazy. Oh no, it's an original flavor yellow and red Game Crazy with the extreme 90s kid design. They survived the rise and fall of their Hollywood Video empire peers by staying true to their roots. And guess what? They're still going strong. The business changed hands around 2014, but it's still the same lineage going back to the mid-90s. They've always been around. They're not as flashy, but they are a mainstay. And they're located in the back part of a giant shopping center by a major road, and I'm sort of nostalgic for the scuzzier flannel grungy parts of the Pacific Northwest. So you need to put on some flannel, lace up your Doc Martens, and go buy some Sega Genesis and Nintendo games at Game Crazy in Salem. Sadly, the other original Game Crazy in Salem suffered a fire, and then they later reopened for a little bit, but finally went out of business around 2018. So yeah, you need to go down to see the last Game Crazy because it is historically important for our nerd culture, and it's also a freaking great retro game store. A very, very nice couple who are absolutely lovely runs it. Not only is the design of their store straight out of the past, but the customer service and friendliness never goes out of style. Now, I actually noticed consistently lower prices for retro games there than in Portland, and they had a decent selection of cartridges, portable games, controllers, some boxed Nintendo, boxed Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Atari, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, walls of Xbox games of all generations, some Atari Lynx and Atari Jaguar game, Sega Master System, Wii U, and Nintendo Wii. It wasn't the biggest and flashiest store, but it was how game stores used to be. All they sold was video games, and it was glorious. Now, they did have a really awesome assortment of action figures and nerd memorabilia, but it was on display only. Not only are the games there delightfully out of the past, but the experience and the ambience is right there with them. For the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about Hollywood Game Crazy, but before I do that, the one thing that you need to know from this video is that there is still an original old-fashioned Game Crazy still in existence in Salem, Oregon. And the only way that they're going to last is if you go there and buy games and sell them your old games. It is super important to support independent retro game stores like this while you still can, and that's the only way that they're going to stay in business is that if you do. You can also visit them at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo at their table, but it is totally worth the trip any other time. There is easy highway access, and you can get there from I-5, and you don't have to drive through the rest of Salem. Perfect for people in Oregon and California driving north to Portland. If you're going to go out to Bend to go to the last Blockbuster video, then you should also go to Salem on the way for the last Game Crazy. Just like how Blockbuster Video was once a giant corporation and is now basically a single family-run store, well, so is Game Crazy in Salem. Now, on to the other Game Crazy. Hollywood Video was founded by Mark Wattles as home theater rental store on Southeast Powell in Portland, Oregon in 1985, about 10 minutes away from where I live now. Then, Hollywood Entertainment Corporation was founded in 1988. It would later go public and go through a period of rapid expansion as the American public couldn't get enough movie and game rentals. By the early 90s, Hollywood Video had stores across Oregon and Washington. Hollywood Video differentiated itself from its competitors like Blockbuster by focusing on simple rental experiences and their sweet-looking store designs, while Blockbuster tried their hand at selling books, phone plans, magazines, CDs, Hollywood Video remained focused on video and game rentals, accounting for the bulk majority of their business. Now, between 1995 and 1999, Hollywood Video entered into a business deal with Master Game Trader Corporation, owned by Bruce Wattles, shortly after Hollywood Video acquired the Game Crazy stores in Beaverton and Johnston Beach, but not the other Game Crazy store franchises in Salem. So, is the corporate family of Hollywood Video and Game Crazy the result of an actual family? I have no firm confirmation of a familial relationship between Mark Wattles of Hollywood Video and Bruce Wattles of Game Crazy. But I would love to be wrong and have it be an ironic coincidence, and that would be an amazing plot twist worthy of a Hollywood movie. Ironically, in order to get to Salem, I had to drive through Wilsonville, Oregon on I-5, and I swung by the former headquarters of Hollywood Video. According to Google Maps, it's either offices for the state of Oregon or it might be abandoned, but there's not much to see and I wouldn't really recommend it as a travel destination. Now, the Game Crazy that you probably know was launched in 1999, and it was a store within a store located inside 700 Hollywood Video locations. Now, a lot of gamers really miss Game Crazy for a variety of reasons. They had a customer-centered focus, including a generous trade-in policy. Game Crazy would beat competitors' trade-in value by 5%, making it a pretty good choice for selling used games. They knew what GameStop was offering, and they would beat them. Wishlist and special order system. Customers could be notified when a desired used game was traded in or have a specific game shipped from another location. This is a big deal because it wasn't yet as popular to get used games online, and it was a very convenient way to get more obscure games. The Game Vault subscription service. For a flat fee, customers could rent multiple games, providing access to a wider library than they might have otherwise afford. So the game rentals were over on the Hollywood Video side, but some parents would opt for the Game Vault subscription, and their kids could trade out game rentals, and it was way cheaper than actually buying games once in a while. This was game subscriptions 2 decades before it was a thing. Lenient late fees. The approach to late fees was more customer-friendly, focusing on repeat business rather than harsh penalties. If you had a late fee, they would say, "Sorry about this, but there is a small extended viewing fee on your rental. If you need more time, you can still rent it today, or you can pay the fee next visit." Now, of course, they still had to have late fees so that people would actually return things, but they tried to have it not be so punitive. Synergy with Hollywood Video. Pre-ordering games often came with free movie rentals, and buying a console included a coupon book for monthly video game rentals. This was a big deal, and I definitely took advantage of it. Try before you buy. You could take any game in the store, and they would open it up and let you actually play it before deciding to put your money on it. Game Crazy was a retro game store before retro gaming was really a thing. We didn't really consider them retro games, they were just older games. Employee perks and store culture. I honestly think it was because of the friends with a lot of people that I worked there with, and there was always a sense of camaraderie, even when customers were being jerks, and at my location, management would have your back if a customer was treating an employee too poorly. It was always just a lot of fun having conversations about video games all day and working during midnight releases while people were getting all excited. The best midnight release that I worked was for Guitar Hero 3. People were having a lot of fun. A former Game Crazy employee that I knew. Employees could rent games for free after they were 2 weeks old, and sometimes they would get to play games before the release date. Employees enjoyed a supportive work environment with good management relations, leading to a better customer service experience for everybody. Midnight launches were treated as community gatherings, building excitement and anticipation. This turned the launch of popular games into a community event. When I looked for photos of Game Crazy on old photography sites like Flickr, I found a lot of photos from these launch parties. The employees did not pressure you into buying more things. Being fun was the most important thing, and in doing so, they actually made more money. The integration with Hollywood Video allowed for a one-stop shops for movies and games. It was all you needed to have a really dope time in the late 90s and early 2000s. Hollywood Video and Game Crazy were quite good, and like all good things, they must come to an end. Hollywood Video was once the number 2 player in the video rental industry with over 2,000 US locations, but they ultimately succumbed to a series of financial challenges and industry shifts, leading to its closure in 2010, along with its beloved in-store video game store, Game Crazy. Multiple failed acquisitions and debt. In 1999, Hollywood Video's $100 million attempt to enter the online video market through the acquisition of Reel.com proved disastrous and left the company financially weakened. Likewise, in 2004, Blockbuster Video attempted a hostile takeover of Hollywood Video and then backed out of it due to regulatory oversight concerns, and that led to Hollywood Video being bought by Alabama movie chain Movie Gallery. Movie Gallery then doubled down on what wasn't working at the time for either company, and then Movie Gallery itself filed for bankruptcy in 2010. Intense competition on multiple fronts. Blockbuster. Fierce competition from Blockbuster included that hostile takeover attempt drained resources and created instability. Walmart. Major retailer Walmart used cheap movie sales as a loss leader, undercutting the video rental market. Redbox. The emergence of Redbox kiosks offered $1 rentals in convenient locations and added another layer of competition. Netflix. The rise of Netflix's mail-order subscription model offered convenience and no late fees. You see, children, the Netflix came in a disc in the mail. The rise of video on demand, Netflix, and online streaming services fundamentally changed consumer behavior, making the trip to get physical movie rentals less appealing. The economic downturn. The 2008 global recession significantly reduced consumer spending on entertainment, impacting the already struggling video rental industry. The demise of Hollywood Video and Game Crazy was the result of a perfect storm of factors. A game over for the video rental industry. It is important to remember that companies are made up of people. When researching this video, I was overwhelmed by former customers and former employees of Hollywood Video and Game Crazy that had very fond memories of their time there. I would like to give a special thanks to the wonderful couple down at Game Crazy Salem, which is still keeping the crazy retro video game retail dream alive. And I would like to give thanks to the former Hollywood Video executive that actually replied to my emails, and all the former Hollywood and Game Crazy MVPs that spent all their time making customers like me feel special. In this ever-increasingly digital and ever-increasingly disposable world of media and culture, it is important for us to remember all the people who came together through the sheer love of physical media. Their secret weapon, putting customers first. They were actually nice to their employees and hired people who cared about movies and games and were nice and reasonable to customers. It is a part of our Pacific Northwest culture where it's okay to geek out and be passionate about all the things that we like and not be jerks to each other. So pour one out for Hollywood Video and Hollywood Video Game Crazy. Then get yourself down to Salem, Oregon and go to the last Game Crazy store, which is also an original, and then support them for years to come. Hey, thank you very much for watching this video. It would really help out if you would subscribe to this channel because I'm doing my best to make awesome videos like this each week. I'm working on a video on awesome portable Sonic the Hedgehog games and a review of the Mew Flip. Also, tell the YouTube robot algorithm overlords that you like this video by hitting the like button. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome. Play retro.